What is going on, guys? It's your Kai here. I'm back with another deck profile. Today I'm gonna be doing a Egg Inister deck profile. A friend of mine requested me to do a budget deck for him to play. He just came back a Yu-Gi-Oh not a while ago, like a week or so. So I decided to do this for him, and it's pretty budget. We can do this around like 150 ringgits can be a full deck, including hand trap also. And before we started, so I wanted to shout out to Space Game for giving me this pretty playmat. It's customs, by the way, it's not official, so sorry if I offended. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. So start off with free Achichi. This is your shadows of the decks. When this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Egg Inister monster from deck to your hand, which is level 4 lower. The second effect is not really relevant. You can banish this card from the graveyard when your Cyh monster battles during at the beginning of the damage step. If you do, destroy that monster, which is not that useful. You don't want to use that. Yeah, 3 Straddles, you know. Next up we have 3 Picari. This is also your Straddles of the deck, but this searches spell traps. Mostly all of your spell traps are just extenders. You need full copies of this. And the second effect is you can make another Egg Inister monster becomes a level 4, which doesn't came up. So yeah, you need more extender as much as possible. And for the one-offs, 1 Pururu, 1 Doyon, 1 Dushin, and 1 Damari. For people who don't know which are these or what they're doing, well, for Pururu, it's the Foolish Burial of the deck. When it's normal and special, you can send one Anister from deck to your grave. And when this card is used as a synchro material, you can special summon one Egg Inister monster from your grave to the field, except for yourself. And for Doya, basically you get to add back a Egg Inister from your graveyard, and with this card is sent to the grave by link summon for a Cyh's link monster. You can add back a spell trap from your grave, which is nice. It brings back your extender for next turn. And for Doshin, it's your free special summon is like just a config. You special summon this card from hand when you have an Egg Inister on the field. And the other effect is when you can target one link monster on your graveyard, and if you do, return deck to your extra deck and add one I Love Fusion from deck to hand, which is not used that often. And since this build I cut out the fusion, so yeah. And for the mine is when your Egg Inister monster is battled and the attack is declared, you summon this card from your hand. If you do, negate that attack. And if you have a link 6 monster on the field, you may banish this card from field or the graveyard. It's basically a infinite permanence. It negates a face-up card on the field, which is kind of nice, and also can be activated during opponent's turn. So you needed this sometimes when you have a link 6, which is the arrival, and this card is basically a free negates. Yeah, that's all for the Egg Inister monsters. And for other monsters, we have 3 Ash Blossoms, self-explanatory. You need more of this, otherwise your opponent's gonna do combo while you don't. You wanted to stop maxis, stop your opponent from extending much more. And speaking of maxis, triple maxis, drawing card is nice in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I always said, you wanted to draw more to your decks, you want to stop your opponent from comboing, this is what you get. And the last hand trap I play is 1 Nibiru, because this card it basically loses to full board combo decks, and I play cross out element deck, so this card is also can use for cross out, or you can just stop your opponents from continuing its combo. And also giving a token is kind of nice. Yep, that's it for the monsters. For the spells, 1 island, you only need 1 since we have the new link 1 which is here, so you basically only need 1, and also it's a garnet in the hand. And we don't play terraformings anymore because you only need 1 is enough. Next up, we have their own Cyanide Mining. I forgot how to pronounce the name, sorry about that. Well, basically what this card does is you can reveal 2 attack 2300 Cyh's monster from your hand or extra deck. If you do, you can add 1 Egg Inister monster from deck to your hand, which has the same attribute as that monster. Also, during this turn, if you do not special summon the monster you would just add to the hand, you have to take 2300 damage during the end phase. But that doesn't matter because mostly you're gonna special summon them anyways, and you have islands, so you basically have to special summon them regardless. yeah, this is the another Cyh mining, another extenders, another searchers. You wanted to see this as much as possible. Also, it's searchable. Unlike Cyh mining, there's no cost. And the other extenders, I Revive, I believe it's called, is basically a monster reborn of the deck. You can special summon one Act Inister monster from the grave, but after that you can only special summon Cyber's monster, which doesn't really matters. And the second effect is not really relevant. It basically adds back a spell trap from your grave. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's add back from the grave and a banish. That's all for their spells. And for other extenders, 2 Cyh mining, I only play 2 because it's once per turn, and basically it's -1 in this deck. You have to ditch 1 to add 1. Unlike Salamangreats, you get more pluses in the graveyard, but this deck don't, so I only play 2. 2 call by. I wanted to stop any hand traps as much as possible. You want to stop Maxis, you want to stop Ash, and speaking of stop Ash, also 2 cross out. You wanted to stop any hand traps as much as possible. You want to extend to your full combo. You want to go second. You want to OTKs. You wanted to just kill your opponent, and this is all you need. And for other standards, Monster Reborn. This is the most powerful extender of the game right now. There's no reason not to play this. And my last spell is gonna be 3 Desires. I wanted to draw deep into my deck, so I play 3, and I don't want to play Upstart Godly because you're giving your opponents 1000 life point, makes you harder to kill them, and drawing 2 is nice. Also, you're playing a little amount of monsters, so you don't need to worry about banishing all your combo pieces as long as you get to your full combo, or even Transcode Talker, and you can just activate this and just draw 2 deep in your deck. It doesn't matter what you banish, as long as you don't banish the important stuff, it's fine. And for trap cards, I just a little amount of traps. 2 Strike. This card's good when you're going first. Well, it's bad going second, but you don't always get to go in second and LTK your opponents. So you need these, and also 2 Imperm. Well, stopping your opponents during second go is good. It's nice, and also a cross out target, yeah, so you need those. And the other 2 is 2 Dynamiscus. I play this because I wanted to remove those problematic cards like Colossus, like Virtual Wars. If I go in first, they throw any hand trap at me, I would just stop in the middle. So I needed these to protect me during the turn. And you don't have to discard your hand if it's being negated, because the discard is not a cost. And yeah, I play this because it's banished the problematic cards, so you don't have to worry about that card in the grave. So yeah, that's for main decks. I believe it's 40 cards. Now on to the extra deck. That is where the spice came in. 2 Dark Infant. This is the new support for Act Inisters. Basically what this card does is a Salamangreat Bailings. You get to search as Fuse when it's Link Summon. And the second effect is when original attack is 2300 Cyverse monster is special summon and activates its effect. You may move this card to a marker this card points to, which is on the left. And then until the end of the turn, it can change its attribute, but which doesn't matter. You just wanted to search the field spell. You wanted to move it away for your Dark Templar to use its effects. This card basically allows you to become a 2 cards combo. This card is just too broken up to play. I only play 2 because you don't have a lot of space in the extra deck, so 2 is enough. Next is 1 Cyber Swiss Kiss. This card searches your tuners, which is your Pururu. If you guys didn't notice, this guy is actually a tuner. Yeah. When a monster is summoned to its marker, you can banish 1 Cyberse in your graveyard. You can search 1 Cyberse tuner from deck to your hand, which is Pururu, which is also another extender. 1 Splash Mage, again, search summon from graveyard, extenders. Not much to talk about. For Link Trees, 2 Dark Templar. I played 2 because sometimes if you're going first, you finish your full combo. If you're going if your opponents leave through the next turn, you wanted to perform another combo, you need a second piece. I did it once, so I realized that one piece doesn't enough. Sometimes you link it away and your opponent just break your boards. You wanted to comboing again the next turn, you needed a second piece. Is pretty important to understand that you need more extenders as much as possible. You don't want to lose monster because of one combo, and two pieces is what you need. And the other best extender, I would say, two Transcode Talker. Again, just like Dark Templars, you can't live with just one piece. You need a second piece for next turn to combo off. And also, when you summon your field like this, both of them can be targeted by monster effects, and both of them gains 1,000, so it's become 3,003 for beater next turn, which is kind of nice. And it's a free extender for your Transcode Talkers, for another Transcode Talker, or the other cards I put in there that I show it later, which is you guys already know, I think. Next up is One Hit Soul. This is the most broken card in the Astro deck, I believe. For people who don't know what this card does, it's basically a chicken game on legs. During either player's turn, you can pay 1,000 to draw a card, and if your life point is 2,000 or lower, you may activate this effect. Banish this card. If you do, you can summon one Link 3 or lower Cyber's monster from your extra deck, which is kind of nice, but that I didn't use it at all. You wanted to draw cards. When you summon Transcode Talker, you can extend to this. During your turn, you can pay 1,000 to draw, and during your opponent's turn, you can pay 1,000 to draw. You can get to draw more cards, because drawing card in Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of busted. You can draw it to your side deck, draw it into your hand traps. You can play this deck without this card. You can use the other card instead, because this card is kind of pricey now. For Ultra version, I believe it's like 40 ringgit now per piece. Yeah. And your first boss monster is obviously Access Code. This card is abusing this card literally. You can summon this like 2-card combo for no reason, and you can get to pop like 4 to 5 cards, which kind of busted. Your second boss would be Firewall Dark Fluid, because you have different kinds of extra deck for, like, I believe it's the other side. My bad. You have Synchros, you have Xyz, you have Fusions, and being a 3k and the free negates is kind of nice. Well, not free negate, basically it's just your ender. And your other boss monster is the Arrival. This card is actually really busted. When I play this guy, I was reading effects like it says can't be affected by effects. I was like, basically no one can break this card essentially except for kaijus, and if you summon it with the right material, it becomes a 5k and free destroys a monster every turn, which is really busted. You have a 5k beater every turn, can't be affected by anything, and also it summons a token when it destroys a monster by effects. So you needed this card to keep your decks alive, because 5,000 is literally a boss monster in Yu-Gi-Oh! And 2 Light Dragon, I play 2 because sometimes you need a second piece to pop more, or you wanted the first piece to on the field for protection during the first turn, and next turn if you somehow link it away, you need the second one, because basically it protects your monster from being destroyed by card effects. Sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't, but I play 2 just for in case. And the last piece is gonna be Pegasus. This is your stratus of destroying back rows, and also you can banish this card from your graveyard. If your card on the field is destroyed by opponent, you get to bounce the card to the deck. Also, it's a protection in case your opponents somehow outs the Arrival and you have this card in the graveyard. You have a protection for next turn. You can bounce your problematic card, and if this card dies. So that's it for the extra deck. And for the side decks, you guys can follow your locals meta games or whichever you want. This is just my personal opinion. You guys can change, don't necessarily have to follow mine. 2 Lockbirds, because Drytron is basically a free win for this deck, and you needed this and also if you play against a mirror match, this card is also very useful because your deck searches a lot, like 2 to 3 cards per turn, so Lockbirds is there. 2 DD Crow for Grave based deck, Eldritch, Phantom Knights, Virtuos, whichever is useful. 2 Lancia, I still respect Orcus in this metagame. There are a lot of Orcus in my locals, and you need Lancia, and also other decks like Virtual World, even Phantom Knights you need to discard. And 2 Cosmic for back rows, and 2 Lightning Storm for more back rows. These decks loses to back rows a lot. Basically, 1 or 2 floodgates is just gonna end your combo, and you needed this to clear whichever that stops you. If you guys notice, I didn't play Feather Duster because you have a lot of back row removal cards. You don't need the another Feather Dusters, and too much spell in your hands will gonna be clogged during your combo, so keep that in mind. And for other going first, I play 2 anti-spell because if you're against Sky Striker, you will basically face a lot of back rows, and also if against Invoke or Shadows, you need to stall them for a turn, and this card just helps you do it going first. You can set it and pass, and during the next turn you just OTK them. For other going first, triple compulsory evacuation device. This is my spice card. Basically, people be thinking like, why are you playing this card? This card is old. Why don't you play other things? Well, for me is if I open in this, I know what's in my opponent's hand. I basically get to stall a turn, and it's not once per turn. I don't play Torrential Tribute. Is sometimes if I have any link monster on my field, I want to keep them until next turn. You can basically just use this to bounce it, and also it's not once per turn. Like I said, if you activate this, people change something and you can change another one, so it still bounces in the end. You still get to keep your monsters, unlike Torrential Tributes or something like the barrier, because you have Synchros and Xyz. Your D barrier basically just stuns your monster as well. So I play this, people won't be thought of it because it's a very old card. So guys, that's it for the deck profile. Let me know in the comment down below what you think of this. I will do another combo tutorial video for this deck because some people still don't know how this deck does, what it's full board, how it's going first, going second. I'm going to upload it, I think same time tomorrow. So if you guys like this video, be sure to like the video as always, subscribe to the channel like any way that you like, and we'll see you guys next time.